taking awfully long. Mhm. Oh, yes. Oh, yes, I see something. Okay. Yes. 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 Thank you for having me. I would be co-hosting with Samuel Israel tonight. I am so excited to be on Ballaholics tonight. I'm suffering over here. Well, the way I'm looking at it is that the NBA is a game that pretty much you just need one or two superstars on your team and a good role cast, team surrounding those two, a good supporting cast, and you can be a very successful ball team. And that's what I'm really seeing with the Brooklyn Nets. They have Kevin Durant and they have Kyrie Irving. So I do believe in the coming years, with time and the time to form the chemistry among the players and everyone setting in their roles and everyone recognizing that KD is the number one player on the team and Kyrie is the second best player, that this team can bring a championship. Mm, I hear you. I hear you. Yes, I'm hearing you. Yes, I believe so. No, I don't change my mind. I'm stubborn. I just know who I've looked at KD, I've watched him play, and I know he's one of the greatest players in the NBA right now, and he can bring a championship to his team. And I believe he has a supporting cast to do it. Hmm. Mm, yes. So, as a suffering Knicks fans, I am hearing a lot of talk about the next head coach. There's a yes, I can hear you. Yes, so I was saying as a suffering Knicks fan, there's always this hope of like some sort of savior that's going to come to the Knicks. And so it seems that the topic of conversation this time is sort of a savior head coach. So now I'm looking at the names that are being thrown around. I see Mark Jackson, Jason Kidd, I've heard Becky Hammond. Um, so for me, my go-to person would be Jeff Van Gundy. I believe he Yes, I believe he has an understanding of the Knicks organization. He's been watching the Knicks. He's been broadcasting about them. I think he has the capabilities. He was pretty much the last like successful coach with the Knicks, and hopefully now with this new GM that we can probably get things moving again. Hmm. Yeah.
Myself just now. I'm gonna hope that we didn't do that before because we're gonna have to restart if we did. Um, let's see. I'm not sure if they had audio problems, so just give us a couple seconds, guys. We're gonna fix these audio problems for you guys. For now, while we're fixing this audio problem, I want you guys to enjoy this nice video we got here prepared for you guys. It's just Michael Jordan just, demolishing the Detroit Pistons back in the 90s.
Great shots, but I've never seen this before from him.
Well, you see, it was an excellent save. Now, what
Let's see. Testing. Should be good.
Yep, I can hear you.
Newmars takes it in for the dunk. Michael Jordan. And a chance to cut.
I think we should be good. I want to see if you guys can hear me and Daniel. Let's see. Can you guys hear me? Just write in the chat. See if you guys can hear me real quick. Let's see. Can't hear the audio. It doesn't tell you what time it is. Can you guys hear us now? We're good now. Awesome. We got the okay. We got the blessings. So we're gonna go on to the New York Knicks. Obviously, going back from the Brooklyn Nets about if Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving can win a title there. We'll have to wait and see. But for now, let's talk about the New York Knicks. Obviously, David Fizdale got fired early in the season, so now the Knicks lack a head coach. So now they're going to look to hire a head coach, or maybe bring back the interim coach in Mike Miller. Daniel, if you are the general manager of the New York Knicks, what's the game plan, man? What are you doing?
I am hiring Jeff Van Gundy. He was pretty much the last head coach to bring the Knicks to a finals. He understands the Knicks culture. He's been watching them. He's been keeping track of them. I think if he comes back now, he can do something with this roster and this sort of new infrastructure that we have.
Yeah, I mean, Jeff Van Gundy is not a bad selection. He coached the Knicks earlier, and then, of course, he resigned. And ever since, really, he resigned, the New York Knicks have been just a laughingstock in the NBA. Listen, Daniel, I want the Knicks right now to do something that the Knicks don't ever do. The Knicks, obviously, they're one of the biggest brands in the NBA. They play at Madison Square Garden. So, obviously, all the lights and all the attention is always on the New York Knicks. And every move, really, if you're an NBA player and you play in the Knicks, anything gets amplified. So, if you're a good player, you become God. And if you play bad, you become one of the worst players ever. So, I feel like the Knicks, they like to go and swing for the home runs. And they like to pick these sexy names. That's why they're always find themselves trading for washed-up superstars. That's why they're always trying to make these big hires. So, if I'm the Knicks general manager, I want the Knicks, it doesn't have to be the sexy name or the sexy player, but someone who gets the job done. And what I've seen from Mike Miller up to this point, what he's done after David Fizdale got fired, I want to bring Mike Miller back. I can't remember the record. I can't remember the record right now. Because I didn't have too much time to prepare for this segment. But I remember the Knicks, when David Fizdale was there, I can look up the statistics, but I believe they were like somewhere maybe like 4-16 when they fired Fizdale. And then when they brought in Mike Miller, Miller's brought them to around a 500 record, a 50% record. And if you're doing that for the New York Knicks, with the lack of talent they have right now, with Julius Randle, maybe Marcus Morris you had in the first half of the regular season, that's enough for me to make me want to bring you back. Now, Mark Jackson, Jeff Van Gundy, not bad head coaching names, but enough with the sexy name. I know you just got hired Leon Rose as president of basketball operations, but let Mike Miller, give him a full season so we can see what he can do.
I'm hearing you.
So I definitely think that we should look more into that. I think that Mike Miller would be a great option. I also like Kenny Atkinson from the Brooklyn Nets, who was recently fired. I think Kenny Atkinson, if Mike Miller does not come back, Kenny Atkinson would be the player that I'm looking at, or the coach that I'm looking at, my apologies. Because if you look at the Brooklyn Nets, they were literally nothing. At the Kevin Garnett, Paul Pierce trade, we all know how that went for the Brooklyn Nets. And they had no first rounders. Kenny Atkinson was able to be an amazing development coach and develop those young guys and bring them to where they are now, and actually put them in position to land a top-tier superstar like Kevin Durant and to lure in Kyrie Irving. He literally stole New York away from the New York Knicks. I mean, that was huge in part to Kenny Atkinson. So he's a developing head coach. He's a developer. He develops young players. If you look at a Tom Thibodeau, for example, he doesn't really do that. No. He's more, if you have established stars, he's well-respected throughout the league. You bring him in, Tom Thibodeau, if you already have a solid roster. But if you're trying to develop young players, obviously, you bring in
Mhm.
Kenny Atkinson, or keep Mike Miller. Either of those two options I'd be very happy with.
And so, what about Becky Hammond?
No. No disrespect to Becky Hammond, but I just don't like the lack of experience there. She's great, and I'm excited. I hope that she becomes a head coach at some point in the NBA. I just don't think the Knicks make a move on that. And number two, I think that Greg Popovich might be setting her up to be the head coach in San Antonio, possibly. I think that Becky Hammond or Tim Duncan, they are bound to be the head coach of the San Antonio Spurs after Greg Popovich leaves and retires. So I would say that, Daniel. By the way, if you guys are watching, we can definitely use some live callers. Who do you guys think the Knicks head coach should be? Should they go after a big name like Mark Jackson or Jeff Van Gundy? Or should they just keep the interim head coach right now and Mike Miller? Maybe steal Kenny Atkinson. Who knows? Maybe even Kenny Smith from NBA's TNT. That was another name thrown in the conversation. Especially you have Stephen A. Smith on First Take always talking about how he wants Kenny Smith to be the next head coach. So tons of names. Would love to hear you guys' opinion on that. Let's see. Let's take a look at our live callers. Looks like we're slacking tonight, Daniel. We're not doing too well with these live callers, man.
Oh man.
I might not be able to bring you back on the show.
Oh
You're bringing our
man.
ratings down, Daniel.
Tough night.
You're bringing our
Tough
ratings down.
night.
Tough crowd tonight.
Tough crowd.
You know what it was? Because yesterday we did the live show and everyone was so excited, and then of course all the technical difficulties came into play.
Yeah.
And lost a ton of Wi-Fi. So they were waiting for it yesterday. So we're performing today, so it's sort of tough. Oh, we do have a live caller actually. So we're gonna tune into this live caller right here. Super excited to have him on. What's going on? You're live with Ballaholics. How you doing, man?
What's going on, Sam?
How you doing, Mike? Great to have you on the show, man.
Hi, how are you? Good.
Good.
What do you think, Mike?
I think the Knicks should go after Mark Jackson because he had pretty substantial success with the Warriors, and I feel like the Warriors should have kept him instead of getting Steve Kerr. Maybe, Mark Jackson gets those championships, and he's validated. But Mark Jackson definitely has more of a better track record than Mike Miller or really anybody else that the Knicks could get, I would say.
Daniel, do you want to start? Do you want to respond to that? What do you think?
You can respond first.
Couldn't hear you, Daniel, there. You want to talk again?
Yeah, you can respond first.
All right, I'll respond first. I don't think Mark Jackson is necessarily a bad head coach, and I do believe he should have another opportunity in the NBA at some point. And the fact that he hasn't gotten one up until this point, after what he did with Golden State, I mean, he definitely deserves a lot of credit there, Mike. And I know what you're saying there. I'm not sure how much of a fit. I feel like if you bring in Mark Jackson, when you bring a coach with his kind of stature, these expectations get raised to unbelievable levels. So honestly, I feel like if you keep Mike Miller, you keep the expectations low, you keep the bar low, so the Knicks can't disappoint. So that's where I stand there. But to answer your question about if Mark Jackson would get the Warriors those rings, I don't believe so, because I think Steve Kerr, when he came in, he had his own offensive system. He combined some of Greg Popovich's space and pace offense. He combined some of Phil Jackson's triangle offense. So he integrated an entire new offense into that Golden State Warriors offense with Steph Curry and Klay Thompson. But I do know what you're saying, and I would not hate Mark Jackson. I just wouldn't love it.
That's fair.
And I guess for my response, it would be a little bit more focused on his offensive style. I remember it was very heavy on isolation. It was sort of old school. And I'm sort of looking for a coach that would, bring in sort of a new style and integrate other techniques. For me, also, it was a little challenging, like all the antics that surrounded him. I just like all his front office stuff and his clashing with the assistant coaches and just a lot of personal life dramas. And I just have a question. Why hasn't he been hired by another organization is my question. What are if he's such a good coach, why haven't another organization picked him up?
Mike, what do you think?
Well, I mean, it's one of those things where teams feel that their coach is better than him, even though he's seen more success, and they kind of want to, give their coaches more of a chance. But Sam, to
Mhm.
go to your point of not raising the Knicks' expectations, I mean, I would like to see them hire Mark Jackson because he would be like, all right, guys, we're gonna make the playoffs this year. This is what we're gonna do, and this is what we have to do because we haven't been, relevant since 2012. Like, let's, give the city something to, cheer about besides the Yankees and the occasional Mets.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm. That's true. I would like Mark Jackson in the sense also that he is a New York native, so he has the roots in New York. I think it'd be really funny if the Brooklyn Nets, they planned one of stealing New York. They brought in Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant, stole them from the Knicks. I think it'd be really cool, Mike and Daniel, if step two, they steal the Knicks'
Mm.
new head coach, Mark Jackson, and they lure Mark Jackson to be their head coach because obviously they fired Kenny Atkinson, so they're in dire need of a new head coach. So I thought that would be funny. But Daniel, to get to your point, I forgot what you said, but it was something that really pissed me off about Mark Jackson. I don't know what it was. But
Mhm.
oh yeah, you said that he had problems with the assistant coach and he had problems with management.
Mhm.
Look,
Mhm.
Daniel, all I care about is if you're getting wins. I don't care if you have problems with your assistant coach or if you butt heads with management. Do you know, I can talk about the Kings right now because the Kings keep firing their head coaches because, quote unquote, they have problems. But meanwhile, the head coaches are good. So the head coaches are getting you wins. If they're helping your team out, if they're getting your team W's, I have no problem with it, Daniel. And you should not have a problem with that. I don't like that at all, Daniel. I do not agree with you there.
Mm.
Do not agree with
I
you.
see. I see.
Anyway, Mike, really appreciate you calling in, man. I hope you stay on for our next segment as well, bro. It'll be good.
Yeah, you got it.
Awesome, man. Have a good one, man.
You too.
All right. So there we go. We got one live caller on today. Mike's our best live caller. He's been really good calling into a lot of our shows in the past. So hopefully we can get some more in the near future. Hoping for that. For now, let's go on to our next segment. We're gonna leave New York. Period. Maybe not. Maybe not necessarily. But we're leaving Brooklyn Nets win the title. That's done. Knicks new head coach done. Step 3. We're gonna go on to the second best team in the Eastern Conference because I think we're all in agreement that the number one team in the Eastern Conference is the Milwaukee Bucks, and they've really been having a magical season this year. But Daniel, who, in your opinion, is the second best team in the Eastern Conference?
In my opinion, the second best team in the Eastern Conference is the Boston Celtics. I love the roster. I think they have formed a very cohesive bond amongst each other. They each know their roles. I think chemistry formed a lot quicker than I thought it would. And I love really how Kemba Walker is taking the role as point guard and really leading this team. And I'm seeing Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown really coming into their own and becoming the superstars that I know that they would be.
Yeah, I mean, the Celtics aren't bad, but once again, Daniel, I don't know if I agree with you because, listen, Daniel, maybe in the regular season they are, but come playoff time, with the ball in his hands, with under 5 seconds remaining, who on the Celtics do you believe is taking that last shot?
Ooh, that would definitely be something they talk about. But
And the
it would
question
be
is,
between
Daniel, and the question
Kemba
is,
Walker and Jason Tatum for me.
Daniel, the
Between
question
those two.
is
Hmm.
that player who would take the last shot under 5 seconds left as clutch as Jimmy Buckets on the Miami Heat? I don't know about that. Jimmy Butler is one of the clutchest players I've ever seen. He's a cold-blooded monster. And we even saw
Hmm.
it when the Philadelphia 76ers were playing the Toronto Raptors last year, the reigning champions. Took them to 7 games. That was the furthest that any team that played Toronto that year got. And Kawhi Leonard obviously hit that last shot. It bounced off the rim like once or twice or 3 times or 4 times. But if that didn't go in, you got overtime in game 7. And I want to say, I
Hmm.
don't even think that the Philadelphia 76ers are even close to being in that position if it isn't for Jimmy Butler. So now you have him in Miami with an actual competent organization who has tons of depth on the bench. Duncan Robinson, Kendrick Nunn. You have Goran Dragic, Ben Adebayo. You have so many players. Oh, yeah, did I forget? They acquired Andre Iguodala at the trade deadline, Daniel. So this team is locked and loaded. I look at the veteran presence they have, again, with Butler, Andre Iguodala, Miami Heat, who have been acclimated to the playoffs for years now, as have the Celtics as well, but they're younger. So I don't know in that series who wins, but I do believe it would be the Miami Heat just because I look at the best player on the Heat and the best player on the Celtics. 2 or 3 years down the line, maybe that player becomes Jason Tatum, who's the best player out of those two teams. But for now, no doubt in my mind, it's Jimmy Buckets.
How much stake do you put into regular season games? Because both the 2 times that the Heat and the Celtics played each other, both times the Celtics has won.
Well, I'm not
What would you
saying
say of it?
that's the regular season, and I do agree. I think
Mm-hmm.
Kemba Walker and Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, perhaps they may be a better regular season team. I think when the playoffs come, the Miami Heat turn into a different animal. Jimmy Butler turns into a different animal. He always performs in the playoffs. He almost has. I'm not gonna say I don't want to compare him necessarily to him, but he reminds me of any player in the NBA. He comes very close to having that MJ playoff feel to him. He has that MJ mentality. When he goes into the playoffs, he just wants to knock off his opponent's heads off. I think Jimmy Butler is that guy. I would also say LeBron James now has become that player later in his career. Kemba Walker is a good player, but I don't know if he has that killer mentality in the playoffs. Jason Tatum has shown flashes of it because we saw a couple years ago when they were playing LeBron James in 2017 before LeBron James, or maybe 2018, before LeBron James ultimately left Cleveland to join the Los Angeles Lakers. But I know for sure on my team in the playoffs, the best player this season, I believe Jimmy Butler. So that's where I stand there. And if you guys are still calling in, you guys are still looking at the chat, definitely call in. We want to hear from you guys. What do you guys think the second best team in the NBA is? Is the Milwaukee Bucks? I mean, I don't think so. I think the Milwaukee Bucks are obviously the best team, but maybe the Milwaukee Bucks for you guys is maybe the second best team. I don't agree with that. I think you have to look at the Miami Heat, the Boston Celtics, the Indiana Pacers also get some consideration with Victor Oladipo back. Though I don't know necessarily this season, but I think maybe later on. The Toronto Raptors are a good one too, I think. But let's take a look. Let's see if anyone has called in. And yeah, it looks like we do have another live caller. Let's hope it's Mike. I like Mike. I want it to be Mike. Let's see. What's going on, Mike? You're live with Ballaholics.
What's going on again?
Hey,
Sam
it was Mike.
Danny?
See, I was right. That was a good bet I had. Cause usually I say, welcome to the Ballaholics. You're live. But I knew it was Mike. I knew it was you, Mike. What do you think, Mike?
I gotta disagree with both of you because Toronto hasn't been dethroned yet, so I gotta still say Toronto is the best team in the East, even though Milwaukee has a better record this year.
Mike, man, I
so
love
the
you,
second
man.
best team in the Eastern Conference for me is the Milwaukee Bucks until they win the title.
Mike, this sort of reminds me of a couple of years ago when the Cleveland Cavaliers, Tristan Thompson said when LeBron left that Cleveland won the ring, so they're the best team. Listen, Mike. The Toronto Raptors, they're a good team. They're not bad, but when you lose Kawhi Leonard, who was arguably a top 3 player in the NBA, I mean, I think undisputedly actually is top 3 player in the NBA. Some people even argue he's the best player in the NBA. I wouldn't agree because I think it's ultimately LeBron James. That takes a lot from you. So I do believe that the Toronto Raptors are a good team. In the playoffs, though, who are they going to? That's my problem I have with the Raptors pick. Daniel, what do you think?
Yes. Yeah, that's a similar thinking that I have. I just don't see a superstar really coming up on top for the.
Hello?
Hello?
So we lost Daniel a little bit. I'm not sure what he said. Mike, what do you think? I don't know what Daniel said, but what do you think of what I said?
I mean, to your point about Tristan Thompson saying that, he said it just to say it. He knew damn well that they were going to finish last or almost second last or last there. He was just saying that out of his ass, to be honest. But But
Yeah,
I mean, I don't see anything wrong with what I said. Toronto's still, the champion. I'm not even a Toronto fan. I'm just a LeBron fan. But until somebody beats them in the playoffs, they're still the team to beat. I know they lost Kawhi. I don't expect them to make the Eastern Conference Finals, but they have to be beat for someone to be better than them. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I see it. I do see it. I do believe in that to some extent. I do believe that merit holds if you're the reigning NBA champion. And I guess when LeBron James left, he's a top tier player. Kawhi Leonard is also, but they also had a great team in Toronto, even without Kawhi Leonard. Masai Ujiri really built that team well in Toronto. I mean, he had Marc Gasol, Kyle Lowry, Pascal Siakam still there, who's arguably their top player, who's an all-star. So they do have a plethora of great players. I just don't know when you lose Kawhi Leonard, how far you can go after that. I do believe that his exit compromises them to some extent. But Mike, appreciate you calling as always, man. You've been our best one.
Yep,
Thank you,
got
Mike.
it, bro. Yeah.
Let's take a look. Let's see who else we got on the chat. Let's see. Anyone else want to call in? I mean, we got some. You see, we got some people watching, so don't be scared. You can call in. We're not gonna hurt you. It's only Daniel about Blue Ball. Daniel's not gonna do anything.
True.
But yeah, I mean, I think we covered a lot today. Honestly, yeah, that's all the segments we have for today. So let's see. We're gonna check one more time and see if people do want to call in. But it looks like we are good for now. I think, Daniel, I think that you need to go maybe take a nap or something because you think that, all your picks were wrong today. All your picks were wrong. The Nets are not winning a title, okay? The Celtics are not the second best team in the NBA. And also you think that Jeff Van Gundy should be the Knicks head coach, which is not a bad pick by any means, but it's the wrong one, Daniel. So maybe you need to take a shower, take a nap. I don't know. All right, guys, if you made this far, really appreciate you guys tuning in tonight to Ballaholics. I'm actually not going to be around for these next couple of weeks. I'm going on a road trip, actually, so I'm pretty excited for that. So maybe we'll have some episodes next week. We'll see if we can get people to join Ballaholics and, carry the show on without me. But if not, we'll see you guys in a couple of weeks. So really excited to do that. And if you haven't already, please show some love to the Ballaholics Instagram, Ballaholics_BTV6. Me and Daniel, we're signing off. Appreciate you guys.
Bye.